Hey everybody, welcome to the Commerce Innovation Center here on a Tuesday afternoon for our series of live demonstrations and videos. Thanks for everybody making the journey over to YouTube with us. Hopefully that'll get a little more seamless here in the next couple of weeks as we get rocking and rolling. Today we're going to be using what are referred to as world's best molds. They are a two-part magnetic mold made in Europe by our friends at Hans Brunner. Designed for solid molding, and the real advantage of these molds is that we are left with a mold without flash. So for those of you that were with us last week, as I reach over here and I grab a mold, we were using a turmeric mold without magnets that we use with clips. But when we trimmed these, when we took these molds out of the finished piece, we actually had to trim some of the chocolate off. And one of the nice things about using a Hans Brunner mold, and in this case, the world's best version from Hans Brunner, is that we don't have to do that. So behind me, I have a couple of tempers running that have chocolate in them. And the machine on the left, I got to use my hands to figure that out. The machine on the left is the Sell Me One, holds about 10 kilos of chocolate. The machine on the right is a Sell Me Top EX that holds around 65 kg of chocolate. Continuous automatic temper is ready to go. So I'm going to start with so that top also has a system on it that we call the crane for meter depositing. That's going to maintain consistent dosing throughout. So we're going to use that in a little bit, but first I'm going to show you how to fill one of these without using the fancy system. So I just have a pastry bag that I'm going to fill with chocolate, and I'm using Football Bunny today. We thought it seemed appropriate for the season we are in, especially for those of us here from Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills have actually not only made it to the playoffs, but have won a game. The Eagles fan of me says I don't really care, but I'm a Buffalonian now, so we'll root for the Bills. So Football Bunny here, he weighs about 125 grams, approximately. So I've got a pastry bag with tempered chocolate. I'm going to snip this in the end, and then simply all I have to do is pipe in. Okay. And one of the things we talked about last week was about where do we get air bubbles. So this guy has a little bit of an indent here, but we're still able to get a pretty good clean deposit without worrying too much about that as we're depositing the chocolate. In this case, using our pastry bag. Here's the question: how short am I going to be? Just enough, probably. So we're going to fill that up. Get the chocolate out of the bottom of the bag. And get that into our piece. At that point, we're going to do a little tapping to make sure that we have a flat bottom and to get rid of any air bubbles within the piece. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Doesn't take a sort of not a lot of thought about that. And then I'm going into my underneath the counter here. I have a box that's set to 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, low humidity box to help with crystallization rather than leaving those on the counter. So I have another Football Bunny. I said before that this has meter depositing, so what I've done is I've changed the crane system to 126 grams in this case to fill. It has a valve that's being controlled with compressed air, and it's spraying the chocolate from the back to the front. What that does for us here is it means that our chocolate stays at a consistent temperature throughout and stays at a consistent temper throughout the whole process. So now it's just getting my timing down so that we're going to fill each of these and all 4 of them are filled. Pretty straightforward. Didn't make too much of a mess. I got a little bit of chocolate on the outside, but not too bad. Same process, a little tap, and then they're able to go into the fridge. Dwell time in the fridge, which I'm sure is, one of those questions that we always answer when we're talking about solid molding. It's going to be a little longer than it would be for an in-road piece. These pieces probably are going to be in this box, which doesn't have a ton of airflow, and is only at 10 degrees Celsius, so not super cold. Is going to be 20, 25 minutes approximately. Keep in mind that because we have a bigger piece, we do need to go longer, right, so that we get even crystallization throughout the entire piece. So, sorry folks, I'm getting used to the technology here. We switch over to YouTube and there's like a delay on the YouTube. So like I'm looking at myself and I get kind of confused because I don't know where I am. But in all seriousness, so we're looking at the piece and you can see that we've got a nice shine throughout, except for now where I've kind of touched them all over. And you can also see that when we break him, which I can't do because he's in good temper, we've got a nice consistent finish on the inside as well, coming from the good temper and the extended cooling time. So we did a mold a little bit earlier. So we'll take that out. We're taking a look at the mold and we're looking to see that we've got release throughout the entire mold. And now I'll compare a little bit to the process that we do with mold clips. On the other system, we take off a mold clip. We go through that whole process. In addition to flash, with this mold, I'm able to lay it down. It has 2 sets of finger clips on either side, or gaps for my fingers. We're able to lift up. We're able to take that side off all at once. See if we can avoid putting fingerprints on the rabbit. Now, a slight flex. And our friend the bunny comes right out. You can allow these to come back up to room temperature, which isn't much above the box in here today, but and then we're ready for packaging. That mold also, once that mold warms back up, is ready. That's all it takes. It's ready to be used again. So we can do that right away. So back to 126 grams. We're back in production quickly. This is the one trick on these molds is we don't want to vibrate too strenuously because we do risk getting leaking because of the magnets. But at the same time, we're able to move along pretty quickly. So I'm just looking to see if we have any questions before we wrap up here. Doesn't look like it. Checking my faithful sidekick over there, Beth, and seeing none. So appreciate everybody that's taking a look at our work with World's Best Mold today. And don't forget that this coming Friday on Instagram, we have Chocolatier Chat with Nick Davis from 11 Cacao, a bean-to-bar manufacturer in Jamaica. And then we'll be back next Tuesday on YouTube, same time, 2 o'clock, to do another from the kitchen. We're not sure what we're doing yet. And then on Friday, next Friday, we're doing another Chocolatier Chat, in this case with Jean-Marie Albon from JMA Chocolates in Las Vegas. So that's about enough out of me. And thanks a bunch, and y'all have a great afternoon.